Big up yourselves for coming on. MNL Edits, he's back. He's back. Now, guys, big up for coming on, man. Much appreciated. Guys, as always, make sure we are smashing the like button and make sure you guys are subbing to the channel as well if you're new in here. So, yeah, listen, we got the Manchester United versus Brighton match preview. Big game. It's a big game for me, man. It's a big game. Definitely. Big up to Fitz, man. Big up my guy each and every time. So yeah, guys, listen, it's a big game today. Tomorrow, should I say, 5:30 kickoff. Obviously, Manchester United, back-to-back wins for the first time under Ruben Amorim. And for me, this is a key game because against Liverpool, obviously picking up the 2-1 win at Anfield. I think if we're being honest, it was a great result, but it's only a great result if United can carry it on and go and win the game against Brighton at home, which, if I'm honest with you, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think if we're looking at Brighton have won their last 3 games, I believe, at Old Trafford against United in a row, which is unacceptable. And they come into it in good form, beating Newcastle 2-1 as well, away from home. So, yeah, Brighton will be looking at this game, as definitely a game throughout the years that they've done well and can win the game. And again, we're going to touch on Brighton's lineup in a bit later. Obviously, we're going to go through United's lineup. Big up to Daniela coming on as well. We're going to go through United's lineup because I think there's a few interesting things that I can just see what this manager in his lineup. I've just got a feeling, his team for me. Is it going to be unchanged? I'm not too sure. I don't know. But there's a few things, and I think he's going to react to what Brighton's lineup is going to be for me. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. But, yeah, we'll go through that. But, again, massive game for United, and United need to win this game. I think it's going to be pointless that if United don't win this game, that game against Liverpool, for me, is going to be irrelevant. So, he definitely does need to pick up the 3 points, man. I don't even think at home against Brighton, there might be some people saying, guys, listen, just before we carry on, if there's anyone that's disrespecting any of my mods, yeah, you will be blocked or you'll be timed out. At the end of the day, if you guys have your own opinion, it's about having your own opinion. But one thing I'm not going to accept on my channel is anyone disrespecting any of my mods. So from now, you've been warned. Anyone that comes in now and disrespects any of my mods, you're just going to be blocked straight away. Because at the end of the day, this is a chat, that, again, this is a channel that is for football, pure footballing talk. Again, we do talk about other sport in here as well. But if you're going to come on there and disrespect any of my mods or be disrespectful to me or anyone in general, then you will be blocked. Yeah, because I don't need you on it. It's a fact. So come in there, have your opinion. If we don't agree, we don't agree. But no disrespect. And that goes for anyone. Okay, so yeah, listen, back onto what we're saying. Yeah, this is a must-win game for me. It's a must-win game. Must-win game. And I don't think Man United can go into this game with anything less than 3 points on their mind. Because as I said, man, that game against Liverpool, I think for bragging rights, I think it's all well and good. But for me, Man United need to pick up the 3 points. And I think everyone that's in the chat now would actually agree with that. I don't think anything less than 3 points. It's going to be a difficult game because Brighton, as I said, have won the last 3 games in a row against United. And Brighton are actually a very good team. They always churn out players. Obviously, Carlos Baleba, who we're going to be expecting to be starting that game. He's going to be wanting to put on a show as well. And again, I think this is going to be a game for him where if Brighton win the game and he dominates that midfield, I think that secures Manchester United, making him their number one target. Do I believe they can get him in January? I don't know, because as we know, Brighton are going to drive a hard bargain in terms of trying to get as much money as possible for him. But he's probably one more for the summer. But who knows? Anything can happen. But he's definitely going to be putting on a showcase tomorrow, at 5:30. So, yeah, listen, it's going to be a big game. We're going to go through Man United's lineup. And, guys, again, make sure if you're in there, you're smashing the like button, you're subbing to the channel. And in the comments, guys, make sure you put in what you think the potential lineup's going to be as well. Because, again, I don't know if he's going to do an unchanged lineup. But I think in terms of the goalkeeper, as we know, Sene Lamens is going to be in goal. 2 clean sheets back to back. Oh, sorry. No, sorry, not clean sheets. Obviously, Liverpool scored from Gakpo. But again, Lamens will be in goal. And let's face it, man, obviously with Lamens in goal, he has been reassuring at the back there. But as I keep stressing, it's 2 games in. And there's going to be tougher tests for me. Obviously at Anfield, it was a tough test, but Liverpool, as we know, are not in great form. But, I do expect from now, things will be getting harder for Lamens. So let's see how he reacts to that, really. But what I would say, I'm just more interested to see how he handles the aerial threat, really, from what Brighton are going to pose. Because, again, they've got a few players in their team that are quite decent in the air. So let's see how he deals with that. But I think the back three, I'm going to be interested to see what he does with the back three, because Luke Shaw's going to play, and Luke Shaw, and I think Dorgu starts as well. And I'll tell you why I think Dorgu and Luke Shaw are going to start. And that's because of Yankuba Minte. If anyone doesn't know Minte for Brighton, he's a massive threat on that right-hand side for Brighton. And he's got pace and strength. And I think the 2 players that I think Amorim's going to use to try and counteract Yankuba Minte will be Patrick Dorgu and Luke Shaw. Patrick Dorgu, for me, is an athlete, so he can get up and down and help defend against Minte. And as we know, Luke Shaw's going to play. And Luke Shaw, as we know, is physically... he's physically good in this league, and obviously he's got good recovery pace. Guys, I will get back onto your comments. Keep your comments coming in, and keep your questions coming in as well. As I said, I'm going to go through Man United's potential lineup. You guys make sure you put your lineup in there as well, and then I will obviously interact with some of the comments on there as well. So yeah, listen, I think Luke Shaw will be playing left side of the 3. Matthias de Ligt's going to play, but it's who plays as the other third centre-back. Because for me, Lenny Yoro has to play, but I think Harry Maguire plays. And the reason why I think Harry Maguire plays is aerially, I think Amorim's going to look at Harry Maguire to deal with to do with Lewis Dunk. Because I think if Brighton get a corner, Lewis Dunk is a massive threat in the air. And I think he's going to play Maguire to deal with Lewis Dunk, in my opinion. Big up to Exedra. Big up my guy. Yeah, so I think Lenny Yoro will find himself on the bench yet again. Purely because I think Harry Maguire plays. The fact that Harry Maguire got the winner as well. The fact that, as I said, Lewis Dunk is an aerial threat for Brighton. I think... Amorim's going to see that and think, how can he counteract Lewis Dunk's aerial ability? And I think he plays Maguire, which means Lenny Yoro, for me, is going to be on the bench again, which is insane. We're looking at Lenny Yoro, someone that was meant to be going to Real Madrid. Yeah. Man United managed to get Lenny Yoro, and now we're having to see Lenny Yoro on the bench. And guys, let me know if you think I'm wrong on this one, yeah? But I think the back 3 is going to be the same back 3 that he played against... Liverpool. I think it's going to be Shaw, Maguire, and De Ligt. I think he does play them 3. So if anyone's thinking Lenny Yoro starts, again, I will start Lenny Yoro every day of the week. But I don't think Yoro starts, and I think Maguire plays instead of Yoro, purely because of the aerial threat. So I think that will be the back 3. The 2 wing backs, I think it'll be Dorgu and I think it'll be Ahmad. I think it'll be Dorgu and Ahmad. And as I said, the only reason I think Dorgu plays is because I think Dorgu is an athlete and can deal with Minte out there. So whereas we all know he loves Diallo, but at home, I don't think he starts Diallo and Dorgu for me. I think Ahmad has to play, even though, as I said, I hate seeing Ahmad as a right wing back. But I think Ahmad plays, and I think Ahmad plays right wing back, and I think Dorgu plays for me. The midfield is going to be interesting because if we're looking at Baleba in there, and the one thing you need against Baleba is legs to compete against him. You know, so I mean, the obvious thing is to say Casemiro and Bruno. I just don't know if he plays Ugarte in there. And I think he plays, I'm going to say Ugarte plays with Bruno only because is he looking at Ugarte's legs to deal with the likes of Baleba and Ayari that will be in there as well. I mean, you have to believe Casemiro will play because against Liverpool, you know, Casemiro's performance went under the radar for me. But does he look at Baleba and Ayari as having legs and think he needs to have a Ugarte in there? I think if he does start Ugarte, that's going to be a problem. But I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to look at what the manager might do, Amorim might do, in terms of counteracting Brighton. Because as we know, this manager never sets up to have his own way of playing in a sense and let the opposition worry about. He more or less sets up to stop the opposition from what I've seen of him so far. Big up to Reluctant Gamer, man. Bro, where you been, man? You been hiding. Big up Gamer, man. Back on for since he ain't been on there for a while. Maybe he's been feeling the pressure of Newcastle, man. But yeah, big up to Gamer, man. Big up. So yeah, as I said, I think, can I see him starting Ugarte? I can see him starting Ugarte, but I don't know what the manager's thinking. I don't know what he's thinking. Guys, let me know what you think if Ugarte starts, because I just got a feeling he starts Ugarte with Bruno in there. But obviously for me, Casemiro has to play. But this manager, we can never guess what he's going to do. The two tens and the striker is going to be interesting. I think Sesko does start. I think he reverts back to Sesko, which means I think he plays Cunha and Mbeumo for me. I don't think Mason Mount starts this game. So, yeah, I think that's the way he's going to go with Lemens in goal, the back three of Shaw, De Ligt, and Shaw, Maguire, De Ligt, Ahmad and Dorgu. I think Casemiro does play, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does play Ugarte. Him and Bruno in there. And then Mbeumo, Cunha, Sesko. I think that's the way he's going to go. Is it the team that I would pick? No. I'd have Lenny Yoro in there. I'd have Joshua Zirkzee playing. You know, Kobe Minu as well. You know, those are the players that I want to see play. But as we know under this manager doesn't like ballers. So, yeah, he likes runners. And again, some of the players that I think will play, you know, I think Mason Mount might be on the bench because I think Sesko does play. And again, as we know, if Sesko plays, it's basically Cunha or Mount, and it has to be Cunha. So, yeah, I think Sesko plays, and I think Cunha plays on the left-hand side, the left 10. And then, as I said, I think Dorgu does play because Dorgu didn't start against Liverpool. But I think for this game, Dorgu plays to deal with what's his name? To deal with Minte. And guys, let me know what you think. I'm just going through some of your questions and comments now. Let's see what some of your teams are. So yeah, more or less MNL edits same team that I said. Yeah, I think that's the team he plays. And I think from that team there, the only changes really are Dorgu for Diallo and Sesko for Mount. Yeah. So I think he plays that team as well. I do think he plays that team. And I think that team there should be good enough to get a result against Brighton. You know, again, we will go through Brighton's lineup in a bit. But I think that's the team we'll play, man. So, but yeah, let's go through some of your comments. Big up to Charles says, by the way, this is not the first time United played really well versus Liverpool and then slumped right back, giving 2 out of 10 performances. But the thing is, do I think United played well against Liverpool? I mean, I've seen a lot of people say United played well. I don't think they did, really. I just think, the first half, United got the early goal, and it was always going to be Liverpool, trying to push the advantage, trying to push the obviously the advantage with the home crowd, trying to get a goal. I think there was good passages of play from United, from what I saw. But do I think United played well? No, I wouldn't go that far, man. I think they had a decent game. As I said, there was some standout performances. I thought Matthias de Ligt was very good. Matthias Cunha was good. Ahmad was good. I think Casemiro's performance went under the radar as well. I think they were the standout performers. I thought Luke Shaw was decent. And Harry Maguire obviously got the winner. So there were some decent performances, but I think on the whole, to say that Man United had a great performance, I don't think it was. I think they rode their luck. You think of, Gakpo hitting the post twice, obviously being involved when the deflected cross off of Bruno hit the bar. The header from Gakpo, if all those chances go in, it's a very different game. And again, United had chances through Mason Mount, the Bruno one, which was a poor miss as well. So, yeah, Man United, in the end, you could probably say they just slightly deserved the result. But to say they played well, I'm not buying it, man. And again, Man United, for me, have to follow it up with a result against Brighton. It'll be pointless United beating Liverpool for bragging rights and then going against Brighton at home and then they don't pick up the 3 points. So, yeah, as I said, man, I do understand that in terms of United having a good result and then going back to a 2 out of 10 performance. But let's hope that doesn't happen because, let's see if there's any momentum that can be picked up. Me personally, I don't believe they will be because I'm a realist and, from what I've seen of this man just so far, hasn't been good enough. But he's got his first back-to-back wins as a Man United manager. It took him 9 months, but let's see what happens against Brighton at 5:30 because this game here is going to be a tense game for United, man. Because it could all come crashing down, man, if United don't win this game and end up getting beat for a 4th time against Brighton at home. So let's see what happens. We're not going there again, are we? MNL Edits says, this is why Bellingham is good. Wide range of football skills, including his attacking prowess, work rate off the ball, and technical ability. He's a versatile midfielder. Yeah, listen, you can rate Bellingham all you want, yeah? But the reality is, yeah, Bellingham isn't that good, man. He's not. Like, you can have your opinion, but when you're coming out with stuff like this, you're saying he's got a wide range of football skills, yeah? Which, again, you haven't named the wide range. All you're doing really is using words. His attacking prowess, what does that mean? Yeah. His work rate, yeah, you can probably give him that. His technical ability. Again, what is his technical ability? Because you're not I think what you're doing, yeah, you're just saying things to say things. Like there's no reasoning behind a lot of the comments from the comments you're saying because you're just using words. He's a versatile midfielder. Well, he's a box-to-box midfielder, so that's not really versatile. He's a box-to-box midfielder. That's what he is. He's not a number 10. He's not a natural number 10. He's someone that can play in that position as a third man running, from deep. But as I said, man, you're just using words. So, you can rate him. I'm not saying you can't rate him, but as I said, man, on my channel, like, in my opinion, I don't rate him the way you rate him. And it's cool, man. You know what I mean? Big up to Nick says, Man United won, Brighton won. Yeah, I can see that. But as I said, I think a draw against Brighton, for me, is not going to be good enough. Man United, for me, need to be going to Old Trafford, having to try and rewrite the wrongs, really. Because I don't believe a 1-1 draw against Brighton will be acceptable. You know, I think you'll get some fans out there saying, you know, it's not a bad result. I don't think so. I think if United were away from home, after having come back off a back-to-back wins, you know, maybe a point against Brighton won't be so bad. But the fact that United are at home, I don't believe it should be acceptable to be saying United will be coming away from that with a 1-1 draw. I don't believe. So, if Matoma and the like start, we're in for a rough time. Yeah, I think Matoma's out, you know, my guy. I think he's out. I think he's out. I don't think he's match fit. So I don't think Matoma's going to start. Again, we're going to go through Brighton's lineup because they've got a few players there that can cause problems, you know. So yeah, we'll be going through their lineup in a minute. But yeah, I don't think Matoma's not fit. I think Matoma and there's a few others that might be out, I believe. But yeah. So I don't think Ugarte starts. Manager at least has realised Casemiro must play. Yeah, listen, I think Casemiro starts, but I'm only saying Ugarte might have a chance of starting because does Amorim try to match up in midfield? Because the two midfielders that are going to play for Brighton, you believe, is going to be Carlos Baleba and Yassin Ayari. Now, both players are very energetic in midfield. Now, for me, does Amorim look at the fact that because he's going to have an energetic midfield, does he need to counteract that by playing Ugarte rather than Casemiro? Because we know Bruno's going to play. So does he counteract that? I would hope not, because I hope Casemiro does start. But we just don't know what's in his manager's thinking. Because, again, I've done my lineup for what he might do. But he might just change things. So, again, we can't really second guess what he's going to do, man. What's your prediction? That's the point. I've not even answered yet. So my prediction for this game, Brighton, Man United. You know what it is? If we look at the last three results that Brighton have beat Man United at Old Trafford, I believe it's been 2-1 and 3-1 twice. So I'm going to stick to that, and I'm going to say I think Brighton beat United 2-1. Yeah, I think Brighton beat United 2-1. I'm going to have to go again because, as I said, I'm not convinced with this manager. You know, I think even the game against Liverpool, Man United were fortunate, and you know the tactic that he played against Liverpool, that's not going to work against every team. And let's not forget as well, you know, Liverpool did miss chances. You know, they missed some glaring opportunities as well. So yeah, I just don't know, man. I think Brighton are a very good team, man. You know, they're a very good footballing team. And I think the way that Fabian Herzler sets them up, you know, a lot of their players are very comfortable in possession as well. And they've got pace on the flanks. And you've got someone in Yankuba Minte. If he's not dealt with, he will cause massive problems. So, again, man, yeah, it's going to be one of them things where it's going to be a tough game for United. I think if United happen to get the first goal, then I think that's going to put them in good stead. But I think if Brighton get the first goal, Brighton could afford to go on the counter-attack. And as I said, we'll go through their team in a minute, but they've got some dangerous players in attack. So, yeah, man, it's gonna be a tough game. But I'm gonna say 2-1 Man, 2-1 Brighton. I'm gonna say 2-1 Brighton. Nah, Gav, Diallo starts. Obrigado tax. Bro, I hear it. I'm just, yeah. I mean, Diallo for me is a starter under this manager. But I'm just saying because there's no way I'm gonna see Ahmad be dropped, especially at home, because we have to look at if Diallo does start, and I'm gonna say Dorgu starts to deal with Minte, because as I said, Dorgu's an athlete, and Minte on that side, I don't think Diallo will be able to deal with Minte as good as Dorgu would, because Minte is an absolute athlete, you know, and he's a threat. So Luke Shaw will be on that side. But I think Luke Shaw and Dorgu would probably be a better fit to deal with Minte rather than Diallo and Shaw. And I think Ahmad has to start. So yeah, but if Diallo finds his way in this team, yeah, I'm not gonna be happy. Put it that way. But I can see it. I can see your thinking in Diallo will play. So let's hope not, man. Because as I said, I'm not a fan of Diallo really. I mean, I'm a fan of Diallo as a right back in a four, but as a wing back in this system, yeah, he's not it, man. He needs to be playing as a right-sided centre back in this system. But somehow he'll find his way in his team. So we'll have to see what happens. But who knows, man, on this manager. Praying for the 5 in a row, you know. Yeah. Um, Amad Diallo has really stepped up this season. You know what? I'm gonna disagree, yeah. I'm not gonna say Ahmad has stepped up because if anyone knows Ahmad, Ahmad's obviously when Ahmad was at Atalanta, this guy was earmarked to be a top player anyway, you know. So obviously when Man United signed Ahmad from Atalanta for 40 million, you know, you had the Atalanta players and the staff saying he was the Ivorian Messi, you know, and people at the time probably laughed at it, you know, and probably thought that's going a bit too far. But when Ahmad come to Man United, obviously he wasn't playing regularly, had to go out on loan to Rangers. But then Sunderland in the Championship is where he really come to the fore, really, because you had Sunderland fans saying, you know, he's their best ever player. Like this is a guy that was on loan at Sunderland in the Championship, and you had Sunderland fans saying he's their best ever player. You know, Tony Mowbray, obviously the manager at the time as well. You know, there was comments that come out recently, him saying what a good player Ahmad is. He's a genius with the ball at his feet. And even he was saying, like, why is Ahmad playing as a wingback? Which is what I've been saying ever since this manager come to the club. To have a player like Ahmad playing as a wingback, yeah, it just shows you that there's no sort of respect for technicians, really. And the problem is, Ahmad's only playing under Amorim because Ahmad's got an engine. So I'm not going to say Ahmad has stepped up. Ahmad was always going to be a top player. You know, like just look at his ability with the ball. You know, the ball always stays close to his feet, and he's got a lot more to offer. But the problem is, he's having to do a lot of his work going the other way. You know, he's someone that should be playing in the 10 because he's actually a number 10. You know, and until this manager goes and a manager that comes in and wants to play with the ball players, you know, you're not going to see the best of Ahmad, in my opinion. I think what's good for Ahmad in a sense, yeah, is that the fact that Mbeumo's a winger, even though he's playing as a right 10 at the moment, a change of manager, you're going to see, because Mbeumo's going to play on that right-hand side, but it gives Ahmad more opportunity to play as a central player under a different manager. So that's why I just need a new manager so we can see Ahmad playing in his natural position, because I'm sick and tired of seeing Ahmad play as a wing-back. So as I said, I don't think Ahmad has stepped up. Ahmad was always going to be a top player, and the fact that he's getting game time at the moment under this manager's not playing him because he's a top footballer. I think people need to realise that, yeah, because just look at when he had Geovany Quenda at Sporting Lisbon. Quenda and Ahmad are more or less identical. You know, they're both athletes, they're both left-footed, you know, and they're both very good on the ball. So he's looking at Ahmad as his Quenda. And the fact that this manager loves athletes, this is why he's playing Ahmad. So I guarantee you now, if Ahmad had the profile of a Joshua Zirkzee in terms of, you know, the language sort of style, Ahmad wouldn't be playing either. It's only because Ahmad's got an engine as to why he's playing. But to say he stepped up, I hear what you're saying, but not for me, because Ahmad's a top player, and he was always gonna be a good player. And the best Ahmad that we're gonna see is when he goes and plays in the 10, you know, and this has to happen for me. So, but big up for the comment, man. Anyway, guys, come on. There's 66 of you watching, and there's 11 likes. Smash the like button and sub to the channel if you're new in here as well. Big up to Mike. Big up, my guy. Yeah, man, all good. All good. Obviously, Friday, game tomorrow, 5:30. I might do a watch along tomorrow. I'm not sure yet because I might be out and I might only catch the game when I get back. But if anything, I'll try and do a watch along at 5:30. I'll have to let you guys know. But yeah, listen, man, I'm all good, man. Obviously, I had my boxing training on Wednesday. Guys, I've got a boxing fight coming up in December, my third one. So yeah, it's on the 6th of December, man. So I'm looking forward to it. Just been putting in the work, you know. Obviously it's for charity as well. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. But no, apart from that, just yeah, just giving you guys content and just yeah, man, just getting on. You know, it is what it is. Right, let's go through Brighton's lineup before I get back into some of your comments. So, as I said, Brighton's last game against Newcastle ended 2-1. You know, a certain Danny Welbeck. You know, I think Danny Welbeck is someone for me that doesn't get given the praise that he deserves. You know, I think Danny Welbeck is what you call a proven Premier League striker. You know, and even if you look at Danny Welbeck's record for England as well, record for England is very good. Obviously, he doesn't play for England no more, but his record for England was very good. And the 2 goals he scored against Newcastle, the 2 finishes there, you know, that's Danny Welbeck. You know, someone that's very underrated for me. Obviously, former Man United Academy prospect. And I think as well, whenever we mention, and I'm probably guilty of this myself, yeah, I even forget about Welbeck coming through United's academy. Because when I say players that have come through the academy, you know, I always mention the likes of, obviously, Mason Greenwood, Angel Gomez, obviously you got Rashford, you know, obviously Pogba was bought, but obviously was through the youth as well. Obviously the likes of Lingard, you know, you think of Giuseppe Rossi. If anyone doesn't remember Giuseppe Rossi, what a player he was. Obviously he got bought from Parma. You got Ebanks Blake as well, Sylvan Ebanks Blake, Lee Martin, Chris Eagles, yeah, Ravel Morrison. There were so many players that have come through the youth, and you often forget Danny Welbeck, you know, and even I do that myself. But Danny Welbeck, man, still going strong. I think Welbeck must be what? He must be what? 33 now, probably. I would say. I think probably about 33, and leading the line for Brighton. And I'll tell you now, he's a threat, man. And obviously, if you look at their team as well, you know, you got Bart Verbruggen in goal. You know, Dutch goalkeeper, very good. You know, obviously, he was linked to Man United. And he's someone, you know, that I look in the future goalkeepers. And I think he's someone that can be one of the top goalkeepers in the future. You know, because he's doing a very good job for Brighton right now. So he's in goal. I think the back 4, you know, you've got Lewis Dunk, the captain, and then you've got Jan Paul Van Hecker as well, that will play alongside him. And again, Van Hecker, for me, another Dutch defender. You know, if you look at the defenders they've had in the past, I think Van Hecker now has cemented his place alongside alongside Dunk. And then the 2 fullbacks, you know, you got Kadioglu, Ferdi Kadioglu, formerly of Fenerbahce. Very good fullback, you know, someone that was linked to Man United as well. You know, he's a right-footed left-back, but very good defensively and attacking-wise, very good as well. And then I think they're playing Max Wiefer. I think he was actually a midfielder. I think he's actually playing at right-back because I think Veltman's out injured. Tariq Lamptey's obviously moved on as well. So, yeah, I think Wiefer will be playing right-back. But then in midfield is where it gets interesting because, as we know, you know, Man United target Carlos Baleba will be in there. And then you got Ayari, Yasin Ayari. I think he's Swedish. And Ayari is a very good player, you know, very good ball player. Has got a very good shot on him as well. You know, I think he scored a couple of goals already this season. But him and Baleba are in there, you know, will be, you know, that will be tough to kind of overcome for United for me. And then going forwards, as I said, you know, Mitoma's out injured. I think he might be back, but I don't know if he's fit. But they've been playing Diego Gomez out there. And to be honest with you, you know, that Gomez is a problem. He is a problem. A couple of games that I've watched him, I believe in the Carabao Cup, I think he scored, didn't he get like 3 or 4 goals in the Carabao Cup for Brighton in one of the ties? I can't remember. But again, he's very energetic and he's got quality, you know, very technical as well. I think he'll be playing the left-hand side. But then I think you got Yankuba Minte on that right-hand side, who's been arguably their player this season so far. And he's a massive threat, Minte. So that's why I'm saying Patrick Dorgu, for me, has to be playing purely to deal with Minte's threat. Because again, he's the physicality of Minte is going to be a problem. And I think Dorgu could be someone that could help Luke Shaw out there and deal with that. And then you got Jorginho Ruta, formerly of Leeds, playing more like a number 10. Again, he's a physical threat as well. He can run in behind. You know, he's good in the air. And that's why I think the likes of Harry Maguire is going to play, because of Ruta and because of Lewis Dunk. But yeah, he's a problem, Ruta, as I said. And he's quite decent on the ball as well for someone of his height. And then you got, as I said, Danny Welbeck playing as a striker. And as I said, man, they've got some threats in their team. So they're going to be a problem, Brighton. And Man United are going to have to try and break them down, because I think with Brighton can play in a counter. You know, you think of Minte, you think of Gomez, Ruta and Danny Welbeck. All of them have got decent pace. You know, Minte's rapid, to be fair. But they've all got decent pace. So, yeah, how Man United kind of keep them quiet is going to be tough. And as I said, if they get the first goal, you know, they can afford to sit in. And they've got players in midfield that are very press resistant as well. So they can afford to keep the ball and invite United onto them and catch them in the counter, catch them on the counter. Because they've got players, as I said, in Ruta and Minte especially, that are very quick on the counter. So, yeah, that's going to be something to watch out for, man. But as I said, I think Brighton win this 2-1. It's going to be a tough game for United. You know, yeah, it's going to be all on for Amorim for me to try and get a result. Yeah, Ruta was dangerous against Newcastle. Big up to MUN Edits, says he was, man. He was. I think with Jorginho Ruta, he's one of them strikers, yeah, that, you know, he's quite an all-rounded kind of player. You know, he's decent in the air. With the ball at his feet, he's good as well. And he can run in behind. And he's got physicality. You know, he does get stuck in. So I think his combination with Danny Welbeck, you know, will be, you know, it will be important for them in that game. So this is why I think Amorim, yeah, I think he definitely plays Harry Maguire. I mean, I mean, who would have thought Lenny Yoro will be on the bench for Harry Maguire? But I think that's going to happen. So, yeah, man, it's crazy. Fitz says he's going to go 2-1 United. Yeah, listen, I mean, United could win this game, but will they? That's the problem. Because Brighton are a good team, and as I said, they've won their last 3 games against United at Old Trafford. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with Brighton 2-1. I'm gonna stick with Brighton 2-1. But again, if it's a draw, I wouldn't be surprised. And but United have to win this game. They have to. So Gavi says Ahmad ain't a 10. He's a right winger. Yeah, exactly. Gavi, tell me you haven't seen Ahmad play. Ahmad's a number 10, man. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Ahmad can play as a right winger, but he's a number 10. So yeah. So when you're coming on there saying he's not a 10, he's a number 10. Like, I'm telling you now, he's a number 10. He's a number 10 that can play as a right winger. But what he's not is a wing back. So again, man, like, I'm not sure how much you've seen of Ahmad, but Ahmad is a number 10. Don't look at the fact that you've got managers that play them in certain positions to think that Ahmad's a number 10. So Man United win against Brighton will be good victory. They beat Newcastle United. Yeah, listen, man, Brighton are a good team. They are a good team. You know, as I said, they always churn out players. You know, Caicedo, Basuma, Mitoma, you know, Baleba now. They've got some good players, man. You think of Enciso, Buonanotte. they've had as well. You know, they always churn out players, man. You know, their production line of players is very good. So, yeah, man, it's one of them things. So, Prime Onana versus Lemens. Who's your take? Well, it'd have to be Prime Onana because Prime Onana, that means we're talking about Onana at Inter Milan versus 2 games from Lemens. You have to say Onana. Like, you know what I mean? I think many will say Lemens, but that's because they're not understanding the question. But if you're saying Prime Onana, Onana at Inter Milan was very good. So, and obviously if we're saying Lemens had 2 games, so we can't really be doing that. And Cypher Volt says Onana was never the problem. And again, I have to agree to that. I mean, for me, Andre Onana, you know, wasn't great at Man United. He wasn't. Like, there was a lot of mistakes in his game. But as we know with certain players are never going to be given a chance regardless. So Onana was always behind the 8 ball when he first come to Manchester United. And again, if you know what I'm talking about, you'll know why I'm saying this, yeah? And again, Onana wasn't great at Man United, but all you got to look at is the setup of the team. When you've got a setup of a team that is just open and allows shot after shot on target against your team, against your goalkeeper, you know, there's only so much you can do. But Lemens has been very good. You know, his kicking's been very good. His handling's been very good so far. But let's see when adversity comes, how he's going to deal with it. Because if Man United lose a game, you know, and there's a shot that he should have saved, let's see how he recovers. Because it's not going to be too long before fans turn on him again. And again, Onana was always someone that was on borrowed time as a goalkeeper for Manchester United. You know, the very fact that he's a black goalkeeper in the first place, you know, he was always on borrowed time. So, yeah. But when people say he was never the problem, he wasn't for me, you know, but he was an easy scapegoat. And as I said, he was someone that, you know, did make mistakes, but again, he was always going to be highlighted more than others. And we know why that is. So, big up to United fan. Big up. Yeah, listen, we definitely need a win, man. We definitely need a win. No doubt. Niall Quinn, man, that's bringing back memories. Niall Quinn and Kevin Phillips. Anyone remember when Kevin Phillips hit 30 league goals in the Premier League? Madness. No, Ahmad and the Sporting right winger ain't the same. Sporting lad is much quicker, much more skillful and silky. So again, Gabby, if you're still in the chat, you're not really understanding what I'm talking about. Yeah. So when I'm saying Ahmad and Quenda are very similar, look at how Amorim played 3-4-2-1 at Sporting Lisbon. Who was the right wing back? It was Geovany Quenda. You know, Quenda, what's Quenda? Quenda's about 5 foot something as well, just like Ahmad. They're both left-footed and they're both athletes. It's not about Quenda being quicker than Ahmad. That isn't what I'm talking about. They're both left-footed, both played inverted. Yeah? Understand what I'm saying. Ahmad is not a right wing back. He's a number 10 that can play as a right winger. Geovany Quenda is not a right wing back. He's a right winger that can play as a wing back. It's not about comparing. It's not about saying that Quenda's quicker than Ahmad. Understand what I'm talking about. They're both left-footed that play on the right-hand side inverted, which is why Ruben Amorim plays Ahmad as a right wing back, because he's looking at Ahmad as his Geovany Quenda. If you don't understand that, that's your problem. But stop dominating the conversation with trying to tell me what you think it is. Like, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, just say you don't understand. But don't try and come into the chat and try and tell me it's not this, it's not that, when I'm telling you now it is that. You know what I mean? So I hope you knock him spark out, bro. Yeah, listen, man, it's not really so much about that, because obviously I'm doing it for charity, men's mental health. So, Yeah, I think what it is, like people that say about knocking them spark out, it's boxing. You know what I mean? I think if you go into a boxing fight with that mentality, it can always be your undoing because that leaves you wide open for shots. I think with boxing, it's about scoring points. And if the opportunity is there, and again, you're wearing head guards, so it's not you can't really knock someone out with a head guard on. That's not really how it is. So as I said, man, it's more about scoring points and just working on not getting hit. Basically, that's what it is. So yeah, no, bro. Listen, I hear what you're saying about knocking him spark out, but it's boxing, man. It's not a street fight. Put it that way. You know what I mean? But big up. MNL says, where can I watch the fight? So I will be getting someone to film it, and I will be putting it up on my channel. But it's only gonna be members only. So but yeah, I'll be putting it up on my channel for members only section. But big up. So Ahmad is a top player and was one of our best players this last season. 100%. He was. The fact that Man United have arguably one of their best players playing in the wing-back system is a problem. Because if anyone's that's played football, you would know the wing-back is probably one of the positions on the pitch that you don't want to play. Because it's unforgiving. It's a task basically in the team without too much reward. So, and the fact that we got to see Ahmad play in there is a problem. So big up to Barbara Joseph. Big up with the super sticker. Big up the weight one. Big up. Can we all remember how good Pogba was, like Ballon d'Or worthy? Big up to United fan. Listen, there's no one that's gonna make me forget about Paul Pogba. Like Paul Pogba, in terms of an all-round midfielder, there hasn't been a better midfielder with the attributes that he has. There hasn't been. Like, name me one, and I'll be quiet. Paul Pogba is an athlete. He's good in the air. He's technical off both feet. He can pass off both feet. He can shoot off both feet. He can get goals. He can create. Like, he's physical. There ain't an attribute, yeah, that Paul Pogba as a midfield player doesn't have. Doesn't have. He was failed by Manchester United because the team wasn't set up in the right way to get the best from a Paul Pogba. But even though he did contribute to United winning trophies here, But in terms of an actual midfield player and the qualities that he has, there hasn't been really a midfielder with all those qualities together. Name me one. There hasn't been. Like, there isn't nothing that Paul Pogba couldn't do. He could dribble like a winger. He's got a great first touch as well. He can play box to box. Defensively, he was good as well. So again, man, there's no one that's gonna say to me that Paul Pogba wasn't Ballon d'Or worthy. He's someone that should have definitely been in the conversations for Ballon d'Or. But the fact that he spent the majority of his career at Man United, really, which they failed him. Obviously, he had the drugs ban, the ban as well, which got overturned. Obviously, he's at Monaco now. He's not been fit, etc. All these things played its part. But this is a guy that's a World Cup winner for France. I just hope Paul Pogba gets back fit, playing, and is there an outside chance that Paul Pogba makes the France World Cup squad? Is there an outside chance? I mean, if Pogba can get back playing fit for Monaco as soon as possible, I guarantee you, if he stays fit, and keeps his form up, he'll get back in that French squad, because a Paul Pogba fully fit, in the France team, that makes them, for me, one of the favourites for the tournament. Because he's that good, Paul Pogba. He's that good. So big up to J Deep coming through. Who do I support? Manchester United and Barcelona's mother team. Yeah. So J Deep says, a question for you. Manchester, is it red or blue? Well, it depends what we're basing it on. If we're basing it over the last 10 years, then it's definitely blue. You know what I mean? If we're basing it this season, it's definitely blue. So, again, I'll always give you my honest opinion, man. The Man United that I've seen ever since I've been supporting them, it was always red. But right now, as if anyone's being honest with themselves, Manchester is blue. You know, Manchester City have been dominating Man United over the last 10 years. So it's not really a surprise, really. So, but let's hope United can get back to them, to those standards that I remember. Yeah, listen, I believe Baleba. I think Baleba has a good game. You know, I do think it's going to be a showcase for Baleba to show United fans, to show the board what he's all about. And as I said, I think if Brighton win the game and he has a very good performance, that will probably push the price tag up, and it will get United even more interested in to sign him, in my opinion. You know, as I said, I think Camavinga's my top signing for me in midfield, left-footed central midfielder. But Baleba for me is someone that Man United have to get if it's not a Camavinga. And then if you go and get an Adam Wharton and Elliott Anderson as well to go with Baleba and revamp that midfield, listen, I'm happy. But Baleba, Camavinga or Baleba for me have to be the main targets, left-footed central midfielders for the balance, no doubt. Gav, how annoyed are you about the Elliott Anderson prop and people rating him over Baleba? Big up to Exedra. But Exedra, one thing I'll tell you about this, yeah? Am I, like, this has, like, a bit of nuance to it, yeah? Am I surprised that fans are rating Elliott Anderson over Baleba? I'm not, and I'll tell you why, yeah? And this might be an uncomfortable conversation for people, but not for me. Why is Elliott Anderson, and again, I rate Elliott Anderson. I think Elliott Anderson's a very good player. But why is he all of a sudden now being rated over Baleba? Well, first things first, he's English. And as we know with this country just tries to overrate the English players. You know, as I said, I rate Anderson. I think Anderson's a good player. But he's being rated over Anderson. He's been rated over Baleba because, one, he's English. And two, because, you know, let's face it, Manchester United would rather have an Elliott Anderson over a Baleba in their midfield. You know, work out what I'm trying to say there. It's quite obvious to know what I'm saying there. It's the same reason why they would want a Benjamin Sesko, who I do rate as well, over a Joshua Zirkzee. Work that one out. You know, it's not really rocket science to work out why Anderson's being preferred over Baleba. It's not rocket science. He's English for one, and there's obviously the reasons as we know. So again, I'm not going to spell it out, but if people just read between the lines, there's a reason for that. You know, why do I want Carlos Baleba? Purely because he's left-footed. Because Man United need balance in that midfield, and if you've got left-footed central midfielders to add the balance, this is what's needed for me. This is why I want Camavinga. You know, it's clear they're left-footed. Adam Wharton, for me, I actually thought Wharton, because Wharton looks more right-footed to me, but Wharton's left-footed as well. I want Adam Wharton. But why would I say Baleba over Wharton? I think Baleba, in terms of the energy that he would offer in that midfield, is what's needed. But I like Wharton because Man United needs someone that can put their foot on the ball. But the problem is, I think in a different system, you can get that from Kobe Manu. You know, and if you can get a Baleba and a Kobe Manu combination in midfield, that'd be a very good combination. But I do like Wharton. I do like Elliott Anderson as well. But for me, it has to be Baleba. But yeah, the fact that people are saying Anderson over Baleba is because Anderson, obviously, at this moment in time, is cemented himself in that England team as a central midfielder for alongside Declan Rice. And again, just work out why they're doing this prop for Anderson over Baleba. It's obvious. You know what I mean? We all know what's going on there. Angelo Stiller is good, but again, Stiller's left-footed, but it's going to be one of them things where can still adapt to the pace of this league, you know. Because as a footballer, he's very good. And again, I'm someone that I want more footballers at my club. But I think the fact that Baleba is a footballer and an athlete together as well, this is why he needs to be bought for me. This is why I want Camavinga. So, yeah, listen, Man United definitely need midfielders. They definitely need midfielders. Yeah, listen, if anyone knows their football, man, you will know that Ahmad's playing that position. And if you think Ahmad's not a 10, then I'm sorry, man. I'm not sure what football you watch. Because Ahmad is a 10. He's a 10 that can play as a right winger. Like, don't look at the fact that you've got Amorim or Ten Hag before him playing Ahmad in those positions. Ahmad is a 10. He's a 10. You know what I mean? Because there's people out there that will tell you that Bruno Fernandes is a 10, that Jude Bellingham's a 10, which they're not. Jude Bellingham's is a box-to-box number 8, just like Bruno Fernandes. But you have people saying that they're 10s only because the managers play them in them positions. Just because a manager plays you in a position doesn't mean that you're actually that position. It's not. So just have a look at the qualities of the players, you know. And again, I can do this all day. You guys can give me a player and I can tell you what position they play. I just know. You know what I mean? That's where my footballing education and, you know, just my football knowledge comes from. You guys can give me any player in the world and I can tell you what player they are, whether they're a 10, whether they're a winger, whether they're a false 9, a striker. Yeah, I can just tell you. It's that easy for me. So to say that Ahmad's not a 10, again, like, I'm not sure like what players you're watching really, but it is what it is. So Ant says, you've got tired eyes today, lad. Yeah, listen, man. It's probably all that streaming, man. And the I'm not getting too much sleep at the moment, you know, but yeah, listen, man. Do you know what? I can actually see it in my eyes right now, actually, yeah. But it is what it is, man. We have to just keep going. Obviously, I'll give you guys content every day. So sometimes it might take its toll, man. But listen, I feel fine. I actually feel fine, man. Exactly. Ahmad does have an engine to play wing back, but that is exactly what Mike said. Ahmad's only playing under Amrin because he has an engine. Because I guarantee you now, if Ahmad had Joshua Xerxes' language style or his pace, Ahmad's not playing either. I'm telling you. You can see what this manager likes. Why do you think he plays Mason Mount? He ain't playing Mason Mount because he believes Mason Mount is a pure footballer. He plays Mason Mount because Mason Mount runs around. All you have to look at is the makeup of his team. He plays runners. The ball players don't play, which is why he needs to be sacked for me. Gav, Anderson or Baleba? Baleba. Yeah, Baleba. I've wanted Baleba. Like, if you guys have been watching the channel for any amount of time, I said Baleba from last season because I could see the trajectory of Baleba. I said exactly what I'm saying now. If Man United don't snap him up, he's going to go to one of the big teams in the world. Whether it's Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool. He will go to one of the big teams in the world if United don't snap him up. I said that from last season. So I'm not going to change my mind. As I said, I like Elliott Anderson. But Baleba, I'm not going to change my mind. I like Adam Wharton as well, but for me, Baleba has to be the main target for me, 100%. Pogba's shooting was fucking great, Gav. Listen, I think you're doing a disservice to Pogba, man. Like, not just his shooting. Like, Pogba was just a top player, man. Like this guy should have been a Ballon d'Or contender. He should have been. But certain things don't work out like that. But I'm not gonna hear it. Anyone telling me, Pogba isn't one of the best players of his generation, because he is. Don't look at the fact that Man United failed him as to say that he wasn't a top player, because he was, man. You'll have people out there saying that Kevin De Bruyne is a better player than Pogba, was a better player than Pogba, which he wasn't. You look at the fact that De Bruyne was a very good player, don't get me wrong, but De Bruyne was a player that was playing in a functioning system at Manchester City. You take De Bruyne out and put Pogba there, you will see what Pogba does, But again, don't let the media or pundits tell you that De Bruyne is better than Pogba, because he wasn't. I'll argue that with anyone. And again, I rate De Bruyne, but De Bruyne wasn't better than Pogba. There was people saying the other day that De Bruyne has a better pass than Pogba. Says who? Like, where's that coming from? And De Bruyne was a very good passer, but don't do a disservice to Paul Pogba about his passing. If anyone remembers the pass that Pogba played to Marcus Rashford when Man United played Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, go and have a look at the pass. I think it was on a half volley. You know what I mean? But Pogba's criminally underappreciated, but it's only in this country, because this country doesn't like ball players. It's the same reason why they hate on Neymar. It's the same reason why they hated on Anthony Martial as well. The list is endless. Jadon Sancho is another one. So Pogba, Varane, and Kleberson was rubbish for Man United. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. That's just someone that just saying comments, man. Like, tell me why you think they were rubbish, or tell me, yeah, like when people come on and say things like that, they're just nothing comments. It's just trying to say a comment for the sake of it. Pogba was the most complete midfielder of the modern era. 100%. 100%. As I said, tell me a player that has all those attributes I mentioned earlier that Pogba didn't have. Because there ain't really one. Because the thing is, you don't really get players that cover all those attributes. They either have one or the other. He covers all those attributes. So, crazy, man. Yeah, big up to Sharon, man. Sharon, long time. Where you been? You been hiding as well, yeah? Yeah, it's been ages, man. Big up for coming on. So Baleba is way better than Elliott Anderson. There is levels. You know what I would say, yeah? I think it's not about whether Baleba is way better than Anderson, because I do think Anderson's a good player. He is, and he's definitely going to leave Nottingham Forest. I'm not sure when, but he'll definitely leave them, because he's actually a good player. Again, formerly of Newcastle. But Baleba just needs to be signed for United for many reasons, Again, I'm not really going to get into them reasons, but I've touched on it before. But it's not about whether he's way better than Anderson. He just needs to be signed by Man United, because he ticks so many boxes, So, yeah, it's one of them things. So Graham says, when have you ever seen Ahmad in a 10? And again, you see what it is? It's comments like this, yeah, that make me laugh, because the average football fan don't know a thing, and Graham's displaying that. So when when you're saying, when have you ever seen Ahmad play in a 10? Yeah, what I would say to you, Graham, yeah, is you don't have to see a player straight. You haven't got to see a player play in that position to know where they play. Like, that's where football intelligence comes into it. Yeah, just go and have a look at little things in a game. Like Ahmad could be playing at wingback here, and there's little things that he does in the game which will let you know he doesn't play there. And again, like, you're coming on here and you're just showing a lack of football intelligence, because when you're saying, when have you ever seen Ahmad in a 10? Like, I'll flip it over to you. Yeah. Where have you ever seen, where was Ahmad's career before Man United? Because his career his career started off at Atalanta. Yeah. Go and have a look at where Ahmad was playing for Atalanta. He wasn't playing as a wing back. Yeah. The guy's a number 10 with the qualities that he has on the ball, and he can play as a right winger. So when you're coming on there saying, when have you ever seen Ahmad in a 10? The fact that you probably actually think Ahmad's probably a wing back or a right winger, it just shows really that your intelligence in football ain't really there, man. Like, I'm sorry to say. Like, I haven't really got time for people coming on there and just having, like, by all means, if you don't agree with my opinion, at least tell me why you don't agree with it. But when you're coming on and saying to me, when have you ever seen Ahmad in a 10? It's like, so you actually think Ahmad's a wing back? Is that what you're thinking, yeah? Crazy. Graham says, is Gravenberch a 6? He's not. Gravenberch is an 8. He's an 8 that can play in a 6. So, there you go. There you go. This is partly Arne Slot's problem. Slot should have went out and bought a 6. But Gravenberch ain't a 6. He's a number 8. Go and look at where he played for Ajax. He played in the 8. There's a reason why he had number 8 on his back as well at Ajax. So, it's not about where the managers are playing them now. Just go and look at the qualities of the player, and you can just work out where they play. That's what I'm trying to say to you. You guys can give me any player, and I can tell you where they play. Don't look at where these guys are starting off on the pitch. You know, some people have the cheek to say Jack Grealish is a left winger. He's never been a left winger. He's a number 10. He's a number 10 playing out wide. Because the way football systems have gone now, yeah, football now is you get different profiles playing in different positions. So, again, don't look at the fact that Ahmad's playing, and again, Alex Murphy's saying Ahmad isn't a 10, he's a winger. Again, you're showing your lack of understanding, Alex, because you actually think Ahmad is a natural winger, which he's not. He's a number 10. You know what I mean? Like, I can do this all day, man. And as Ramos said, Bruno got the 8 tattooed on his arm. You know what I mean? He's got the 8 tattooed on his arm, yeah. Bruno, which lets you know that he's a number 8. The fact that people think Bruno's a 10 is comical, really. It's comical that people think he's a 10. Like, it's just funny. He's never been a 10. As I said, because Solskjaer and Ten Hag played him in that position, that doesn't mean he's a 10. He's actually a number 8. People even think Bruno can play in a 10 in this system right now, but don't actually realise that this system, it requires different qualities from a number 10. This is the problem. Big up to Phil Holland, man. Gav is going in. Yeah, listen, I have to, man. I have to, because when people come out with certain things, it's frustrating, because again, with my channel, I like to give people a different perspective, because I think it's a media thing. What the media do, and what a lot of pundits do, and even there's channels out there as well, they just throw out a lot of propaganda, you know, and the average football fan that doesn't really know what they're watching will just buy into whatever they're saying because they're on TV. You know, as I said, I've consumed football my whole life. You know, I've played football to a level, you know, and I've coached football, and I just know my football, you know. And when I'm saying certain things, you know, I'm saying certain things because it's just what I know, you know what I mean? And as I said, I like to give people a different side to it. But when people just come out and just say certain things, they're either getting that from other people, or they're just saying things just to say things. And as I said, man, not on this channel, man. We don't want to have people that just come on there with just foolish comments all the time. Big up to Daniela as well for the super sticker. Oh, here we go. They didn't have it all. Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes were Scholes better than Pogba. Yeah. So again, Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes will probably tell you that Paul Pogba, as an all-round midfielder in terms of all the qualities, had more than them. They'll probably tell you that themselves. So again, when people come out of things like this, it's just you're not understanding what we're saying. So Mike said, Graham, name me one weakness in Pogba's game. But Graham's not going to do that because Graham's too busy just talking shit and just telling you what he wants to tell you. But Alex, it's not about Scholes being better than Pogba. Like, you're not understanding the conversation. Yeah? As a midfield player, Paul Pogba had all the qualities that a midfielder should have. Paul Scholes didn't have an engine. Yeah? Paul Scholes wasn't a physical threat. Pogba had those things. So understand the actual conversation rather than just trying to say stuff for the sake of it. No one's saying that Paul Scholes and wasn't better than Pogba. You know, no one's that isn't the conversation. The conversation is the qualities that Paul Pogba had. Yeah, he had literally every quality for a central midfielder. Paul Scholes didn't. Whether you want to believe that or not, understand the conversation. So when you're coming there saying Scholes was better than Pogba, we're not talking about that. So, yeah. Yeah, all right, Alex, man, you're not getting it, man. Let's forget what Alex is saying, man. He's not getting the conversation. Big up to Verbich. He's not getting the conversation. We're just going around in circles, man. It's either you want to understand or you don't, man. And if you don't want to understand, then that's your problem, man. But no one has said that Paul Pogba was better than Paul Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard. You know, that's a conversation for a different argument, yeah? The argument was, yeah, or the debate was, as a central midfield player, the qualities that Pogba has, yeah, there isn't, name me a midfielder that has all those qualities. And you're saying Lampard, Gerrard, and Scholes. But again, those players will tell you, yeah, that Pogba had all the attributes that they didn't have. So what are you talking about? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I've already named you the qualities that Pogba does. Verbich says, why does Wirtz get GA only against Bundesliga teams? Listen, I ain't gonna put it on Wirtz because I rate Wirtz highly. But for me, Wirtz is gonna come good. He will do. He will come good at Liverpool because, you know, I think it's an adjustment period for Wirtz. You know, obviously the price tag is gonna, you know, it's gonna be one of them things. But as I said, Wirtz is a top player, man. He's one of the best players in the world still for me. And I think eventually he's going to get it right and he will come good, man. So I've got no doubt about that. Big up to Egypt as well, Liverpool fan. Zamalek or Al Ali. You know what? That's funny because you used to have a guy called that played for Wigan as well. That was from Zamalek. I forgot his name. Striker. I forgot his name, man. You probably know him. I think he played for Zamalek. Striker from back in the day, man. I can't remember his name. Is it? I can't remember. Yeah, I forgot, man. But again, I don't really watch too much of Zamalek or Ali, but I'm gonna say Zamalek. Yeah, Alex doesn't like Pogba, man. It's very obvious. I don't know what Pogba's done to him. I don't know. Maybe he's maybe he got with his girl. I don't know. I can't really answer the question, man. But now he's saying great midfielders don't get banned. Period. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I mean, Tonali's a great player. He got banned. Like I don't really know where he's going with that. To be honest with you, you know. But it is what it is, man. Sometimes you just can't help people, you know. Rather than stick to pure footballing talk, they come out with this. So it is what it is, man. Right, guys, we're going to wrap up in a bit. So, guys, give me your predictions for the game tomorrow at 5:30. Cantona served the ban too. Yeah, but I think he's mentioning midfielders, etc. But again, the fact that he's coming out with this, yeah, fits. I think he mentioned midfielders. So let's give him a bit of a chance. But the fact that he's coming out with this nonsense about midfielders don't get banned, yeah, he just getting onto a different thing now. It means he's lost the argument, really. Bro, listen. And then Alex says, bro, I've been going to Man United games since 1995. I'll be honest with you, yeah? I don't give a damn how long you've been going to Man United games. Like, what does that mean? Like, I'm born in 87. So I've seen more Man United than probably you. So what does that mean? Like, it means nothing. Like, it just means nothing, man. Like, because you've been going to games since 95, what does that have to do with the argument? The facts are, yeah, Paul Pogba as an all-round player, in terms of all the attributes that a midfielder has, he has more to his game from the attributes than Roy Keane, than Paul Scholes, than Steven Gerrard, than Frank Lampard. No one's saying is he better than them players. We're talking about the attributes. So again, if you're not understanding that, then that's your problem. Yeah, man, of course, Zamalek, yeah, you had a striker that come from there that played for Wigan in the Premiership. I forgot his name, though. Is it, it's bug me now. Is it Ahmed or I can't remember his name. Yeah, listen, man, Berthier revealed, yeah. Sometimes you got to let people know, man. Let them know. Because when someone's coming out with he went to games since 95, it's like, come on, man. I've seen football. Yeah, listen, it is my opinion, and it's your opinion if you think the great midfielders don't get banned. Like, that's just nonsense. Like, and it's not about you agreeing to the Pogba talk. It's not about that. But you're coming out here saying great midfielders don't get banned, and then you're saying Scholes, Lampard, and Gerrard, but you're not understanding the actual debate on what we're talking about. Like, you cannot rate Pogba. Like, it's not about that. You cannot rate Pogba, but you're not understanding the conversation. So that's why I'm coming back to you, because you're not understanding what we're talking about here. If you don't rate Pogba, you don't rate Pogba. Like, that's your opinion. You're entitled to that. But then you start coming out with stuff that has no relevance to what we're talking about. So that's why, man. No one's talking like he's a god. Again, you're saying Pogba isn't the best ever. No one said he was the best ever. No one's actually mentioned that. Again, you're not understanding the conversation. I just said the attributes that he has as a midfielder. Name me another midfielder that has those attributes. So yeah, name a midfielder that has them attributes. Yeah, bro, listen, man. Many people do think that. So when I'm talking about football, man, you can see the football that I've seen. And yeah, as I said, man, big up yourself for thinking that. But yeah, I think Wayne Rooney turned 40 today, actually. You know, Wayne Rooney was someone that I played against in my youth when I was at Chelsea and Tottenham. So again, he just turned 40. So that will let you know, man, like the footballing education that I've had and the footballing that I've done. So, nope, I don't have a degree, but your takes are just laughable. Yeah. So you're stating he's the best if you asking me to name players with better attributes. Again, that's not what I've said. That's not what I've said. That's not what I've said. I said, name me a midfielder that has the attributes in total. Like, that doesn't mean I'm stating he's the best. Even though, you know, if we're looking at generational, he was a generational midfielder. He was. But you're the one that decided to bring in Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes, even though that wasn't the conversation. The conversation is the attributes. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, and as Mike said, you missed the whole point of the conversation. Do I think Paul Pogba was one of the best midfielders of his generation? 100%. Do I think from his career, he's had the best career in terms of a midfielder? No, I don't. But the conversation is the attributes that he has. Understand what we're talking about, man. But guys, listen up. 6th stream. So look, Iniesta, Pirlo, Xavi had better attributes than Pogba. And guys, this is where we wrap up because he's not understanding the conversation. So as I said, we're going around in circles because he just doesn't get what I mean. And I think sometimes, there's conversations that go over people's heads because I rate Iniesta, Pirlo, and Xavi, yeah. But you're not getting the facts at the attributes what I mentioned earlier. So let's just leave it there, man. We're not gonna see eye to eye on it, man, and it's cool. You're doing a watch along this weekend, Gav. Yeah, I might. I'm gonna try and do the Man United one tomorrow at 5:30, but I'm gonna be out, so I'm not sure what time I'm gonna be back. So as always, keep an eye on the schedule. Make sure your notifications are on to see when I go live. And yeah, hopefully I'll get back in time. If I do, I'll do one. If not, then I'll do a reaction to the game. So I'll either do a reaction to the game or I'll do the live watch along. I'll do one or the other. So yeah, as I said, keep an eye on notifications and you'll see when I go live. But guys, big up yourselves for coming on. Big up to all the newcomers as well. As always, guys, make sure you smash the like button and make sure you sub to the channel as well. And check out all the other content. Check out the playlist as well. And as I said, yeah, game day tomorrow. Man United versus Brighton, 5:30. Sure to be a good game. And United need to get the win, man. So we'll see what happens. But as I said, guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Big up to Broderick as well. Big up to all the mods. Enjoy your weekend. And let's hope United get the win tomorrow, man. And if not, it's back to square one. So let's see what happens. But big up yourselves. Smash the like button. Sub to the channel. And yeah, guys, I'll catch you in a bit. Take it easy.